it going?
Hi, I'm Greg. I'm 38, and I'm thinking about reaching out to a girl I used to date, but I need to emotionally protect myself in case I'm rejected again.
Okay. When you say rejected again, did she end the fling?
She ended it after two amazing dates. Yeah.
Why did she end it?
She gave me the whole "it's not you, it's me" thing. She's not ready for a relationship and yada yada yada.
Okay. And why are you thinking about reaching back out?
Because to me, it just seems like unfinished business to me, and we really hit it off, and a lot was said during the dates, after the dates, that made it seem like she wanted to, pursue something. And then I heard nothing for a couple days, and then I got the message. So I'm wondering whether or not I should do it, how I should word it if I end up reaching back out. That's why I'm here.
What did you say in response to her when she sent you that "it's not you, it's me" message?
So I had a little bit of a moment of weakness there. I did kind of ask to talk to her about it, kind of like hash it out, which I realize is not the right thing to do now. And then she sent me back something like saying like, "Why would I do that?" kind of thing. And then I just kind of wished her well and went on my way.
Why
And
would
that
you
was
what why would she do what?
like, why would she talk to me about something she's already decided, type of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, based on what you're telling me, I definitely don't think you should reach out.
Okay,
Um,
all right,
just for fun, just because that's we're here to have fun. Why? Just convince me why I'm
yeah,
wrong.
okay. Well, so we had two great dates. We were kind of moving really really fast. We kind of like skipped 10 steps in the relationship. We were love bombing each other, and it's really tough when, because I didn't know the term love bombing before this whole thing, but it wasn't just one party giving it and the other person pulling away. She was giving as much as I was giving
Who
her. So to me, it
who
was
were you guys actually saying "I love you"?
no.
Okay. When you
We
say
were
love
we were
bombing,
kind of
give me an example.
like, we were like really excited about introducing each other to our friends as boyfriend and girlfriend type of thing. Introducing ourselves to family, basically confessing our feelings for one another.
Okay. The best of your recollection, do you remember being the first one to express your excitement? Were you leading the excitement and she was following, or do you feel like it was like kind of fairly like back and forth?
It was pretty equal.
Okay.
We kind of hit it off right away, messaging on the apps, and then the first date went great, and then the second date was the next day, and things kind of unfolded from there. And then the second date was the last time I ever saw her and really spoke to her
Did you guys
face
hook
to
up
face.
and have sex?
We did. We didn't hook up. We got physical. We kind of fooled around a bit on that second date, which was the day after the first date.
All right, but no sex though.
No, no.
Okay. Okay. When you say you first learned about love bombing, how did that come up? What do you mean by that?
Okay, so I'm getting divorced after 5.5 years. That's why I'm like testing the dating pool.
Okay.
Honestly, it was through you, Nick. My sister is a big fan. She's been listening to you since pre-COVID, and once I broke up with my wife, she recommended your podcast, which I have listened to ever since. I read your book, giving her the book. So like I learned of that term through you, and I realized after the fact that that's what I was doing, and that's what she was doing to me. And sorting through my feelings on that is kind of what I'm struggling with. Like, I do want to continue dating her, and I don't know why things ended. And I know you're, probably going to tell me, like you obviously just said, like, just don't even reach out. But I'm really struggling with that, and I'm an anxious attacher. I know that now,
Okay.
and I'm wondering whether this is like worth it, or if it is worth it, like, what do I say and how do I emotionally protect myself,
Okay.
if
Yeah. These are all good.
the
These are all
answer is
good
no.
questions. Couple things I want to say. When you say you're an anxious attachment, how do you know?
Because I text frequently. I'm one of those people who just needs to be reassured
Okay.
when I'm with someone, especially early. And when I don't get the text back, I am, you know, pretty anxious and
Okay.
in my head about it.
Okay. The reason I asked too, because I also think, I'm saying this kind of just to be a smartass, but I do think you should reread the book about love bombing, right? Because my big point in my book was how we are misusing words and watering down the meaning of these words. I'm definitely not an expert in attachment styles. I know the basics of them. I'm not even doubting that the little bit you've probably read online or in a book, you're probably accurate. I'm just very cautious about us diagnosing ourselves because I think at times we like to latch onto these things and we go. It's like I think it's one thing to have a better understanding of who we are and as people, how we handle our emotions, and then I think we like to latch on these things as almost like excuses in our head to act a certain way or to fit in with the group. Oh, what's your attachment style? Well, I know my attachment style and things like that. And,
Right.
I think if you have a therapist that is, studies this thing and wants to explore your attachment style and what you can do about maybe being an anxious attachment style, I'm all for that. But like randomly reading something about yourself online and then going forward speaking about like, hey, I'm an anxious attachment style, it only really benefits you if you're able to then address why you are the way you are and maybe learn some tools to stop being that way. Other than that, it's just like
And that's part of the
yeah,
reason why I'm here
great.
as well,
Yeah.
to
And it's
kind of like get some more tools as well. And I am in therapy. I did start therapy after me and my wife broke up.
congratulations. That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
uh, thank you. It's been life changing, as you've said many times.
How long ago did
Um,
you and your wife separate?
this was back in June. So this was like so this is what, like, now we're at like 4 months
Okay,
ago.
so it's
Is
still
that it?
pretty
Five,
raw.
5 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. All right. So listen, also for back to love bombing. I don't know. Maybe you guys
yeah.
did. I wasn't there, but I think there's a huge difference between two people being excited about each other on a date and kind of saying things they don't really know what the fuck they're saying. Like, oh, I can't wait to introduce my
Right.
parents. I don't think that's love bombing. Love bombing comes with intent. Love bombing, like, say, for example, gaslighting, is a term originally used to identify someone who was a little emotionally abusive. And then
Mhm.
and I've just started talking to you, but I don't think either of you were emotionally abusing each other. I think it sounds like both of you were a little
No.
excited about the dates that you were
Yeah.
on. I don't know anything about her, but I can imagine why you would be excited. Hell, you're going through a divorce that's emotionally it fucks you up. You want to move on from that. You go on a date with someone that like, oh, fuck, this is going great, man. I imagine when you got divorced, there's a lot of fear about like never finding love again and yada yada yada, or even connected with anyone. And here
Yes.
you are connecting with this woman. Very understandable why
Mhm.
you'd get excited about that, right? That's not love bombing. Love bombing is saying things to someone else. Like, for example, let's say you went on a date with this girl and all you wanted to do was fuck, man. You just wanted to get laid, right? And so and you thought that if you told this girl that you were falling in love with her, that she would drop her pants and have sex with you. And so you said, I love you. And then you had sex, and then you were like, peace out. That would be love bombing. That would be fucked up because then you played to her
Okay.
emotions. You made a promise knowing that you didn't feel that way, but you wanted something in return. And love bombing happens when you express some kind of love or affirmation, not because you feel that way, because you're trying to get something from them, And the very
Okay.
common one is like, there's a hookup situation. A girl's like, well, what does this all mean to you? And you're like, well, it means I love you, baby. And then you have sex and you're like, bye, and you're only saying, how you feel about her because you think that it'll get you laid. That would be a version of love bombing, right? And I don't think that's what's going on
Okay.
here. I think you guys got
That's not
excited
what's
about,
going
yeah,
on.
you guys got excited about each other.
Yeah.
You got a little carried away. And then she said, time out, you know?
Yeah. Right.
So,
But like, so the thing that happened after those two amazing dates, after we got physical, after we connected on the date, the following night into the next morning, she sends me a paragraphs long text in the middle of the night. And it
wait, is
basically
it,
says like, hey,
when was this was in between the dates?
so this was no, this was after the second date. This is like the next night leading into the morning 2 days later.
So after the second date, but before she ended things.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So she sends me this paragraphs long text saying like, "Hey, we're moving really fast. I really like you. I want to take things slow. We had plans for a date the next day, which would have been a third date in like less than a week, which I know is a lot, but that was our plan. She said like I kind of want to slow things down. I want to like maybe do like 1 or 2 dates a week max. Let's kind of get into that rhythm. I still like you. I still want to pursue a relationship with you. It's just a lot right now. She was talking about, she just moved from another state like about 6 weeks prior, so she was kind of getting her feet under her there. She had a girls' weekend that weekend, so she was busy. So she said, like, let's kind of like take the weekend off and then like regroup for the next day. So it was, or the next week. So it was a very hopeful text, and it made me feel really good. Like, wow, she wants to take a step back. We're moving really, really fast. I totally recognize that. And I sent her a text back basically saying, like, I'm down for all of that and totally, totally down for everything there. So we had a call scheduled for the next day. And I texted her, I called her, no answer. And she already said she was busy. So I kind of was like, all right, she's busy, whatever. Then the weekend goes by. She's on her girls' weekend. She had like a baby shower and a girls' trip planned. I resist texting her at all during that time. All the while, my sister is coaching me through, how to sort through my feelings and talking me down from texting her, and that
Sure.
and that worked out great. Because this is how I am, Nick. Like I want to text. I want to like hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Checking in, whatever. And that's just how I am. So I had to like actively resist that. So Monday comes, the weekend goes by. Monday comes, I send her a text in the morning, like, "Hey, I hope you had a great weekend. I'd love to hear all about it at whenever you get a chance." That was in the morning. 2 days of ghosting happens after that. And then I kind of force the issue 2 days later and say, like, hey, you said you wanted to slow things down, but this is like really slow. Like I want to know what's going on type of thing. And then she sends me the text saying, like, it's not you, it's me, and blah, blah, blah. So that's
Yeah.
that's where things ended.
Okay. Who knows, right? I mean, what I know for sure is that after the first 2 dates, she felt a little uncomfortable in the speed in which you guys were moving, right?
Correct. Right. Yeah.
Why? How? I don't know, right? And so we know that, right? So is it possible that this message that she sent you in the middle of the night was really just about how to reset expectations with you and then move forward? It's possible. It's also possible that, like, in the back of her mind, she, was already kind of questioning how she felt and maybe psyched herself out. I don't know.
Mhm.
It doesn't
Or it was just
really,
like too much too soon
yeah,
type
who
of
knows?
thing
It
and
doesn't
just
really
like
matter.
got.
One advice I want to give to you as you enter in the dating world is stop giving, is it nice to have a nice date? Sure, of course. It's even better to have 2 dates in a row that are nice, but that's all they are. Is they're two really great dates that really don't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, is she your person? Is she not your person? I don't know. So many very, right? You could just be two people. Maybe the reason why you both had fun is that for different reasons, you were both anxious and excited about having a connection at all, right? Here you are, fresh off of a divorce, anxious for and desire to connection. We understand that, right? Maybe she has got something going on in her life for different reasons. She had the same desire to have this connection, and in this date, there was the environment was set up for two people to connect in a way that they were just both excited about. Does that mean you guys
Right.
are in love? Does that mean you guys are each other's person? Does that mean you're compatible? We don't even know, or the unclear is the point, right? And so it's very
Right.
easy for someone in your shoes to be like, "Oh man, we had two good dates, man." You get fixated on the fact that you had two great dates, and you start glorifying in your head about, like, they're just two nice dates, right? And I'm not trying to discourage
Right.
you from this, but it's just more like you got to be, when you have a nice date, it's fun to get excited, but it's also like you just have to pump the brakes, just you need to pump the
Right.
brakes, and if I
Right.
were to give you a small note, and I don't think this really changed the outcome, but when she messaged you all these, like, this long message, right? And that was like how she is feeling about the speeding your relationship. And the only thing you responded back was, "I'm down for all of this."
Well, no, no, no. It was in so many words. I
Okay.
was, basically going through it and say like, I definitely want to slow things down. This is not normal. Like I recognize this. I'm just, we need to slow things down and
Okay,
make
so you
make
did
things
empathize
unfold
with
in a
her in
healthy
that.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I
All right.
sent
All
her,
right.
a couple of
Okay.
paragraphs, basically saying, I am down for that. Let's regroup after the
Okay. Because
weekend
I
and all
was
that.
gonna say, it's like you saying I'm down for that just kind of sounds like you just want to be agreeable just so that you can hang out with her.
Oh no, no, no.
Okay.
Yeah, no. It was
Right.
it was
Yeah, because you want to do
more
some kind of like,
efforts.
yeah, you're right. Thank you for pointing that out. I think we are moving too fast. Thanks for calling us out on
Exactly.
that. Yada yada yada. I think we're down.
Yeah.
Listen, the fact that she wrote that message, you agreed to it, and then you'd never really kind of heard from her after that tells me that more likely than not that she was kind of mentally checking herself out from this relationship. And is it you? I don't know. It probably is more her than you. I don't know. Even if it was like I decided I didn't like him, she doesn't really know. She doesn't even know how she feels about you, right? Maybe she just psyched herself out. Who knows? I don't think you should reach out because all your reasons for reaching out are mostly based off of two exciting dates and then making a lot of assumptions about how you thought you felt about her.
Right.
And she is entitled to feel how she feels. She is entitled to not want to go on a third date. She knows how you felt. And even if she was testing you and you failed her test, you don't want to deal with the fact that she didn't handle herself the right way. You know what I'm saying? She did leave you hanging. Doesn't make her a bad person, but like
Right.
maybe not your person.
But like,
And
yeah, maybe we're dealing with someone who's not emotionally mature enough for
nah, whatever. Sure.
whatever.
Yeah. I would spend less of your time worrying about her emotional maturity, because I think it's very
Yeah.
easy to be like, oh, well, you know what? She is not mature enough. I mean, listen, if that helps you move on, great. I tell a lot of callers to like focus on the things you don't like about someone who doesn't like you rather than obsess about what you're not getting. There's a limit to that. I don't want you, getting a habit of being like, oh, you don't like me? Oh, well, there's something wrong with you. It's just more accepting that they're not your person.
Right. Well, hey, that's just me kind of like speculating and like endlessly going over, that like week that week is like, in my mind, just going over it over and over again, ruminating, like you
Sure.
say,
Yeah. Yeah.
that you do, that I do as well. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like, I'm going off of her text where she said, this is what I want, and then, half a week of complete silence, and then I get that. It's like, not that she owes me a reason, obviously. I'm not saying that, but it's just like, it's like such a like a question in my mind. You know what I mean? Like I just want to like maybe like throw it out there, like, hey, like, some time has passed. Like, do you want to go out again? Like, I don't know if I should do that or how I should word it or what. And it sounds like you're just telling me like it's just not worth it to throw myself out there again.
Yeah, because what's changed, right? And the only thing that's changed is you've ruminated. When we ruminate, us ruminators are very good at like reconstructing things and then building them back up to fit our narrative. Because to me, what's changed? I haven't heard from her. Nothing's really changed. You can't assume she feels differently about you. If you reach out again, you're
Right.
you're risking coming across as a guy who's not willing to like listen to a woman who's set a clear boundary and doesn't want to see you again.
Right. Right. Yeah,
Uh,
that's
and
true.
and I would hate that for you. My guess is you probably have some regrets in like how you worded things or yada yada. And you almost want a second chance for her to have a last impression of you.
Well, that's the thing, Nick. I'm going over all my actions, all my words, all my texts that week, and I really like. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I really can't see anything like
Good.
wrong that I
That's
did.
fine. That's fine. Especially if you're like
You know what I
running
mean?
it by your sister and you're getting a woman's point of view. And that's the thing.
Right.
It's only been a couple dates. You know what I'm saying? You probably didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
This is not about like you met this person. She's just one girl and you had a couple dates. But you know what I'm saying? She, for whatever reason, and there could be a million reasons why that are very justifiable, that have more to do with what's going on in her life than your two dates. And
Yeah.
she opted not to continue, right? And you're sitting here
Yeah.
trying to figure out, did I do something wrong? Could I have said something differently? Who knows? Probably not.
I will say, as a quick aside to this, 1 week later, after she ended it, she viewed my profile and my sister's profile on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So I don't know if that means anything at all. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
like the
yeah.
last
Listen,
piece of
I love that you
communication.
say that. I love your admission because if nothing else, I think for all the ladies listening, I think again, I always try to remind ladies, because a lot of women listen to this. You are an example of a guy who was or is excited about a woman, and here you are reading into nothing, just like a lot of the ladies out there will read into things. And I'm here to remind you, men and women aren't that different. When we like someone, it's pretty obvious. You like her for whatever reason and now you're reading into this shit. No, it doesn't mean anything. It means that she was bored one day and, listen, like she's not a machine. Just because she decided to not hang out with you again, I'm sure she was conflicted. I'm sure, she easily could be talking to her friends being like, I don't know, he was a good guy. I don't know what the fuck I did, but like I self-sabotage a lot and blah, blah, blah. But that's her journey. And you're not here to heal her. You're not here to recommend. You're not here to like, well, just so you know, like therapy's really worked for me. Maybe you should get into therapy so that you won't self-sabotage us. That's her. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what her reasons
Right.
are. Her reasons are her reasons, and they're valid. And all her reasons say to me is she is not your person, and the why doesn't really matter. And she was curious about you. I don't know. But if she really wanted to reach out, she has your number. You know what I'm saying?
Right. She would have already done it
She's not
already.
trying to
I've
get
heard
your
you say that.
attention. But like, and I don't know. Don't you go online? Don't is every person's profile you look at or stalk, does it mean you want to fuck them or marry them or date them?
No, no, no.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So
It was just odd. It was just odd. Like I noticed it. It wasn't only mine. It was my sister's, and me and my sister don't have the same last name. So maybe there was some digging going on.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
I'm
know.
sure she
I'm
was
just
second guessing her choice. I'm sure she was definitely thinking about you. We know that much, right?
mm,
But other than that,
right.
could be a million different reasons. And the point
Mhm.
is, if she wanted to actually get a hold of you, she knows how to do it.
But that's not an indication of interest in your mind, like interest of getting back together
No.
or something.
Again,
No.
right? You made it very clear that you weren't thrilled with her choice.
Yeah. I just kind of said like, let's talk about this. Like,
No.
not just
So you
like
wanted to talk, so she knows where you are.
impulsively.
If she wants to talk, she knows where to find you. Again, it doesn't. There's a million reasons why, and you're just. I get it. You're a little. You're bummed. You're hurt. You were excited about someone, and it's like I totally empathize where you're coming from. I think it's important for you to recognize
Yeah.
that you're still very fresh off of a divorce. You haven't even healed from that, right?
Right.
And here
Right.
you are worried about how vulnerable you might be reaching out to this new girl who you've only had 2 dates with. I think the big picture is, you're still healing from this divorce, right? And there's a lot of unknowns in your dating life. And yeah, it sounds like you're excited to get back out there. What this should be for you is just a exciting reminder that you are capable of liking someone else and you are capable of making connections with other women, right?
Hmm.
That's exciting. And that should remind you that
I
you'll meet other people.
Yeah, I've never been doubting that. That is a good point on your part. I don't want to belittle the point or anything, but I think this has mainly taught me the difference between excitement and like real feelings or love. And you've talked about this many times.
Yeah.
Excitement is really hard to like when the other person is giving as much as I am, or is giving me back everything that I'm giving them in terms of the language that we're using, the actions. Um, it's really hard for me at least, to resist that and to not immediately have feelings for them. I'm not saying like I totally resisted saying the word love because I know that would have changed things um, in that moment. But it's really hard for me to you know, deal with this excitement that's still like in me. Like I still think about her. I still, I still have these feelings. And then for that text to come say, hey, I like you. I want to, slow things down. I still want to date you, whatever. And then just nothing. And then ending it is like it's a very hard pill to swallow. And I know you understand. It's just like, I don't know. It's just, I need to get better at, really just seeing dates as, like approach it like you'll never see this person again type of thing. Like just take it as like just like a one-off thing, like and then just have it build. And like I was putting too much of my feelings on, two dates and I need to
Yeah, I mean, I guess
stop
it's
doing
less
that.
of treating it like you'll never see them again. I think that adds almost unnecessary stakes. I think it's just an
But
acknowledgement
just
of,
to like lower the expectations, more like a reasonable expectations type of thing.
well, the reasonable expectation comes from reminding yourself that you don't know this person at all. And
Right.
you're both incentivized to be your best self on this date, right?
Right.
So when you do meet someone on a date, or not, even if it's a fifth date, it's just like every time you go on a date with someone and and you learn more, you can say, wow, this has been a really good date. This is, man, I had a lot of fun today, and I'd like to go on another date with you. And then when you get back from that date, you remind yourself, hey, I'm excited that I'm excited. But I just need to remind myself that even though this could not have gone better, I feel like I learned a lot about her. There's a lot of things I'm super excited about, but I need to slow down, and I need to remind myself on date 2, I still have a lot more things to learn about this girl, and I need to take it slow. I just to slow myself down, right? And so then you come back a little
Right.
bit more curious. And again, like part of that's going to make you more attractive, because like as soon as we start being really excited, especially early on, we run the risk of, scaring the other person off, not looking like.
And that's what I think happened, to be
Maybe,
honest with
yeah.
you.
I
Like
mean, you
that's kind
definitely
of
could have, heard, maybe for all you know, a friend got in her head being like, this fucking guy just got out of a divorce. He's not ready for another relationship. He's just like, you're just a rebound to him, blah, blah, blah.
and that's where my mind has gone as well.
Sure.
So
But the
yeah,
truth is, like, and part of there might be but some truth there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't even matter, because who knows what happened. The point is, if a friend was able to convince her about how she felt about you, then she's not ready to be in a relationship with you.
right.
The what happened, I said this in my book. What happened is way more important than trying to figure out why it happened.
Yep.
You know? Um,
Right.
and what happened was, you had 2 dates and she flaked on you. And the why doesn't really matter, because she could have handled it better. And how she handled this
Right.
moment is very telling of how she'd handle herself in a relationship. You know, I'm a big believer, obviously, that conflict reveals more about ourselves than being in a good situation, right? So
Right.
we learned more about her through the conflict of her not sure of how she should handle being unsure about you. Then we learned
Right.
about how she was when you guys were vibing on these dates. I mean, maybe she's just
Right.
being
I get
agreeable.
you.
As men, we also have to recognize that, sometimes women just agree with us on dates because, well, quite honestly, I don't know if I should disagree with this strange man. I'm being
Mhm.
extreme here, but like that is something women think about. That, you're a big guy, right? So like, when you're in a situation, you're like, I think this about you, and maybe she's just saying me too because fuck, I don't want to piss this guy off.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're giving these vibes, but I think as men, it's just important to recognize that, like, women have different priorities, they have different concerns, they have different things going on in their lives, and more than anything,
Mhm.
it's just a good thing to remind ourselves that 2 dates isn't much. And anytime we say to ourselves, it feels like this, it feels like I've known you forever, that also means that you don't. No,
Right.
and you have to just slow yourself down rather than, you don't need to slow her down, like that's her job, and the more you slow yourself down, then you could say like, yeah, I'm really excited about you, but like, we'll see. And boy, if you tell a
Mhm.
girl, we'll see, she's going to, that's going to trigger her ego, and that's going to make you more desirable. So there's benefits to you slowing yourself down and taking the we'll see approach anytime you get excited about someone, because it'll make them, especially early on, still feeling like they have to get to know you and get to see if you like them. As soon as you let a girl know you like her, the game's up, so to speak, and vice versa. And as
Right.
humans, we just, we love a challenge, we love all these things. But I think right now, big takeaway is, I think it's great that you're in therapy. I think it's great that you're trying to heal from your divorce. I think it's great that you're getting back out there, but I think as far as getting back out there, I think you should slow down. I think you being triggered by this person after a couple good dates, I think maybe is a reminder that maybe you're not quite ready to get back out there. Now, I'm not saying you should stop dating, but the fact that this girl that you went on 2 dates with kind of fucked you up a little bit emotionally, I think tells me that you still have some
Mhm.
healing to do, because I think you're able
Um,
to get caught up in the moment a little too quickly, and it's distracting your healing.
okay. As an aside to that, in your experience talking to, all your guests, I wonder if the fact that I'm going through a divorce now and not that my divorce is final, I wonder if that plays into anything. Like, do women, have this thought in their minds, like, oh, he could get back together with
Sure.
his
Yeah. Listen,
wife, like it's
how
not
would you
final,
feel? I
like,
mean, if you met a woman who was going through a divorce,
right,
so
right. So
people,
like I'm kind of battling against that narrative in a way in my head.
sure, but that's not for
Somewhere.
you to listen. Just like if you were a single parent, do you have kids?
No.
Okay, so you don't that's something you don't have to worry about. If you did have kids, that would
Right.
be something you would have to. It would be in the back of your mind. It would be something you would have to address in dating. Some women would
Hmm.
have more questions. Some women wouldn't care. I don't know, but it is. You
Hmm.
have baggage. You're going through a divorce. We all have baggage. We bring in different baggage. The best
Sure.
way to have our baggage not be something that feels like baggage to someone else is to show the emotional maturity that you have dealing with it. Right? I don't. Am I making sense? The best way to combat
Yeah,
someone
like,
judging you from going through a divorce is to just handle yourself to be emotionally regulated.
right.
Y- And, you
Easier
know,
said than done, obviously. But yeah, that's
yeah.
that's something I'm working on.
And I think you have valid reasons to be frustrated that she goes to you and didn't reach back out. But either way, here's the thing. There are men out there that she's dating, and they might be fuckboys. She is used to guys that she is liking, blowing her off, ghosting her, not giving her the time of day. And we all respond to that. And so here she is. You weren't giving guy who I like to chase. Now, that doesn't mean you did anything wrong,
Right.
you know,
Right.
but you have to put yourself in her shoes. So
Right.
here she was expressing some hesitation about the speed at which things are going. She waited a couple days. Maybe she's testing you. I don't know. And then after a couple days, you were like, hey, what the fuck's going on? And maybe she read that a little aggressively. I don't know. Right. But again, she's so used to men probably like disappearing for weeks, and she's put up with that. And here you were not even okay with a couple days, you know? And the reality
Hmm.
is, again, I'm not trying to criticize what you did, but you only had 2 good dates. And if she wants to fall off a grid and go on a bachelorette trip or hang out with her girlfriends for a week without hanging out with you, she has every right to do that. You guys had no relationship, 0 expectations.
Sure.
You weren't really in a position to demand anything from her. Not that you were demanding it,
Hmm.
but like you were kind of like, hey, I want, like this isn't fair to me type of energy, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So and coming from her position, she probably was like, "You know what? This is too much for me too fast."
Right.
Right? It sounded very boyfriend and girl. It sounded like you had expectations, and quite honestly, after 2 dates, you shouldn't have much.
I know. I know.
I
I
am
know.
not letting her off the hook. There's different ways, but she doesn't. For me, she's out of the picture. This is about you handling yourself in these dating situations and coming across as a
Right.
man who's in therapy, who's dealing with their divorce, like who is very quick to put themselves in the other person's shoes so they can empathize with that person so they kind of don't go off the rails or aren't reactive. Because that's why we're reactive,
Right.
right? Someone offends us, hurts our feelings. We're immediately triggered. Our egos are kind of like, fuck you. You can't let this person treat you this way. Then you demand a response from this person, yada, yada. As we get older, we get more mature. As we get therapy, it's just easier for us. I mean, if nothing else, what they show, doing this show and talking to a million people about what they're going through helps me empathize with people a lot more. It's very easy for me to be like, I don't know. Well, if I were in their shoes, how would I handle it? I am programmed to do that now, right? It comes very naturally for me when I feel wrong or slighted to be like, well, what would I do? And you ask yourself, well, right now you're going through a divorce and you're thinking, oh man, I can't figure out how are women going to treat me coming off a divorce. And you're just like, well, it's pretty easy to figure out. What concern, even as a divorced man, if you went on a date next week with your equal, like someone who like
Hmm.
separated from their partner the exact same day and was in the exact same process, you would have questions and concerns,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
how she handled it and answered your questions and just how she carried herself would do more for you in terms of, alleviating whatever concerns you had more than anything that she could say.
Right.
My big takeaway is I want you to just, slow down. Like, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. Just try to slow down a little bit, I think if you called me up and was like, hey, Nick, man, like, I've been dating this girl. We've had like 5 great dates. I'm really excited about her. I'm going through a divorce right now. My big takeaway would be like, slow the fuck down, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like to go through a divorce, but I do know they're hurtful and painful and messy, and you're going at a time in your life where, I'm guessing 28-year-old you was not planning in being such a transitional period in their life at 38. And that can
No.
fuck you up a little bit, and that can get in your head. You're still really young.
Yeah.
You have a lot going for you. You are among friends, but now is the time to really just, be okay with being alone, be okay with healing, be okay with like investing in yourself. Really try to be your best self, not so that you can go on dates and talk about how great you are, but just to really,
Yeah.
find those flaws, those areas of opportunity. If you really think you're an anxious attachment person, explore that with your therapist. Make sure they know what they're talking about, but, try to get those tools so that you, again, something I'd about, if I were you and I'd talk to my therapist, is like, listen, man, like, man, this situation happened with this girl. I'm not here to talk about whether I should dating her, but like, I was just so anxious for those 2 days not hearing from her. And I'd love to figure out how I can like let that shit go, set it aside, cause that should have been the answer. The truth is, if you would have called me up right after this girl reached out, I would have been like, forget that she exists for now. Let her reach
Right.
out whenever she's ready to reach out. Let her make the next move, because right now she's unsure about how she feels, and you need to pull back in a way that makes her fearful about losing what she had in those 2 nice dates.
No, and what you said now kind of confirms what I'm already doing, because after this whole thing happened, I was really disappointed, as you can tell. What I did was I resolved to kind of just like take this time to work on myself, which I have been doing after the breakup. So like all my free time and energy is going to work, gym, and therapy. And
Awesome.
the other one is research, things like listening to your podcast, reading your book, reading other dating advice stuff, things like that. I'm really proud of what I've done. I've lost 41 pounds in about 4 months, and I'm keeping on going with that. And that's like a mental health thing as well. I just don't have the patience now to start conversations, get on the apps. Like I deleted all the apps off my phone. It's just this one girl is, I think about her like almost like every other day. And I just like, it's such like an unresolved thing in me. Like I want to see if anything is like actually still there, if she's going to entertain,
It's all
talking
it's
to me
all in your
again
head, man. You know what I'm
something.
saying?
But
She has triggered
yeah,
something in you. She has scratched some sort of unhealed wound. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
yeah,
Explore that with your therapist. But it is not because she is your person. It is not because it's, again, she's just, I don't know, probably if nothing else, it was a feeling that you desire to have and you want to replicate. And it's like you missed that feeling.
attention,
Yeah, you got to
attention.
fix. You got to fix to something you really enjoyed. And
Yeah,
so now you just need to let it go and acknowledge that, that's for you in the future. But right now, it's like a sugar fix, man. I always like to use a food analogy, but like right
the
now,
Sour Patch Kids. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Right. And so maybe
right.
now it's a reminder that you got that sugar fix, and you're susceptible of binging again, where in
Hmm.
the future, if you healed, you could get a fix and then process that fix and ask yourself, how can I incorporate this feeling slowly into my life without it like taking over my life? Because what you're describing is a feeling and not being able to understand that feeling and just wanting to replicate that feeling over and over and over again because it feels good. And that kind of sounds like an addict, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I never thought of it in that way, but that's yeah, because like I am kind of like chasing that feeling, like you said, and it's like it's not love, it's excitement, and that's what I'm like drunk on
Yeah,
right now. I
because you
want that
probably, I don't know,
excitement.
I imagine going through a divorce, there was probably a period and then you and your ex-wife are at each other's throats. You're probably just fucking like surviving your marriage and just making each other more miserable. I don't know. So yeah, it's understandable why you're craving that fix and that feeling. But again, this is where the healing and the
Mhm.
emotional maturity comes in and things like that. And I'd keep investing in yourself, man. Like keep going. Don't stop. Congratulations on everything you've made so far, but keep
Thank
going
you.
until it becomes who you are and not something you're working towards. It's like,
That's good. Yeah.
I want it to become old hat for you. I want it to become I want it to be incorporated into your life. I don't want it to
Mhm.
become like a diet. I want it to become a new habit you have,
A
a
lifestyle. Yeah,
lifestyle,
a
right? And I
lifestyle
think
change.
right now you're
Yeah.
in this transitional period. You're very motivated by getting through this divorce. But what happens when the motivation ends? What happens when you settle into your new normal? And when we settle into our new normal, we get comfortable, we resort back to our comfort ways. And our comfort ways usually, sometimes if we don't have any guardrails, will snowball into like not being our best self,
Right. Right. Okay. Well, that's very helpful. It's a different way of thinking about it. Thank you, Nick.
Anytime, man. Yeah, it's always nice to talk to the men dealing with some of the very similar struggles as the ladies out there. Can I offer you an unsolicited grooming tip?
Sure. As a fellow bearded man, this is my first beard.
Good. I
So
love it. I love the beard.
give me all you got.
Trim the beard. Trim the beard. It looks a little.
Trim it.
It looks a
Okay.
little unkept, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I straighten it in the mornings, and I don't know, maybe by the afternoon it gets a little frizzy. But you think
It's giving
trim
a
it
little
bit?
like letting yourself go. I trim
Okay.
trim the
All right.
sides. Trim the sides. Know what you need to do? Go to like a barber shop
Yeah.
and ask them to like clean up your beard and let them do their thing.
Okay.
That's what you should do.
Okay.
Yeah, find a like a.
Because like right now I'm just like, it's my first beard, so I'm trying to go for length. You know what I mean? Just like see what it looks like, longer, but I don't know.
That's something like eight. I get it because it's your first beard. It's a very boyish thing to do. I
Mhm.
totally get what you're saying. And listen, at the end of the day, this is just a grooming tip for the future when you're ready to get back out there. As far like
Okay.
if you want to just fuck around because you're having fun growing a beard, then I'll just shut the fuck up. In the future, when you're done having fun experimenting with this new beard, go and treat
Yeah.
yourself to a nice barber. Ask them to trim up your beard in a way that looks like both rugged and well kept, and have them do that. Yeah,
Okay.
just a
I
tip
have
there.
I have a really good barber, so I'll maybe
Great.
explore that the next time.
Yeah, great. That's all I got for you. Thanks for
Great.
calling. Would love keep us posted on how things are going for you in your healing journey and your dating life. Would love an update down the road as things go. But yeah,
Definitely.
I would take a little break from dating when this girl pops into your head. You just gotta let it go. You got to remind yourself it's not really her or you. It's what she represented. She made you feel a certain way, and yeah, just you're just replaying
Move on.
these dates in your head over and over and over again. What happened way more important than what was said or how why it happened and things like that. The actions
Mhm.
in early dating situations are far more trustworthy than what was said.
Right. Very good. Thank you very much.
All right, take care, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
There's a lot of decisions you have to make when you have a baby. And the one that I feel the most comfortable and safe making is using Huggies for our daughter, River. The new Huggies Skin Essentials are here. A brand new dermatologist-approved line of diapers, wipes, and pull-ups training pants are all designed with baby's sensitive skin in mind.
Their wipes have 0 harsh ingredients for a great, gentle clean.
The Skin Essentials diapers features the Skin Protect liner, which is what helps take care of the ick and stick that can cause rash.
Their whole diaper helps protect against the top 2 causes of rash by managing moisture and runny mess. Pull-Up Skin Essentials has got your big kid covered too with a training pant that is ultra soft and breathable to help protect sensitive skin throughout potty training. Learn more at Huggies.com. Once again, head to Huggies.com to learn more. Helix Sleep is the perfect place to get your perfect mattress. We have been sleeping on Helix mattresses for 5 years now. We love them everywhere we go. We want to be sleeping on a Helix mattress. It's just crazy how comfortable our mattress is. You could be sleeping on a mattress just like me. Like your favorite person in the world, your favorite celebrity, your role model, me. You could be sleeping on the same mattress I'm sleeping on. And if maybe you sleep differently, I don't know. It's certainly the same brand. Helix has a lineup of 20 unique mattresses for every type of sleeper. Sleep hot, sleep cold, sleep on your side, sleep on your back, sleep on your stomach, doesn't matter. Helix has a mattress for you. To get a mattress that's perfect for how you sleep, just go online, take a quick quiz, answer a few questions about your sleep preferences, and they will pair you with the mattress that's perfect for you. They offer the award-winning Luxe mattress in the Ultra Premium Elite collections, but plus they have those mattresses for the big and tall sleepers and those kids out there. Helix Kids mattresses designed for those growing bodies and endorsed by child sleep experts. You get a 100-night sleep trial. And they offer a 10 to 15-year warranty on all their mattresses, depending on their mattress. But the point is, you get to try it for 100 nights, do whatever you want, and if you're not obsessed with your Helix mattress, you can send it back for a refund. You will be. I promise you that much. It's the greatest invention of mankind, right? After maybe the wheel. It goes wheel, electricity, and then a Helix mattress for maybe the greatest inventions of mankind. And you are a couple clicks away of enjoying that comfort with Helix. Helix is offering 25% off plus 2 free pillows for all mattress orders. Go to helixsleep.com/VIALL. You can also get a free bedding bundle, 2 dream pillows, the sheet set, and a mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. That's helixsleep.com/VIALL. With Helix, better sleep starts now. This episode of Viall Files is brought to you by Wild Grain. Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for artisanal breads, pastries, and pastas. Wild Grain boxes are fully customizable for your taste and dietary restrictions. In addition to their classic variety box, they recently launched a new gluten-free box and a plant-based box that is 100% vegan. Best of all, they take the hassle out of baking since all their items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less with no mess or cleanup. They have over 25,000 five-star reviews. And with every membership, 4 meals are donated to the Greater Boston Food Bank. Are you ready to bring all your favorite carbs right to your doorstep? Be sure to check out Wild Grain so you can begin building your own box of artisanal breads, pastas, and pastries. For a limited time, Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off their first box, plus free croissants in every box. I love their croissants. They're delicious. When you go to wildgrain.com/VIALL to start your subscription today, you heard me, free croissants in every box. That is enough for anyone to go and get some Wild Grain right now. And $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/VIALL. That's wildgrain.com/VIALL, or use our promo code VIALL at checkout. How's it going?
Hi, I'm good. I'm Jessica. I'm 28, and I'm wondering if my ex wants to get back together or if he just wants me during his football offseason.
Okay. I'm assuming you've heard from your ex, and that's why you're reaching out.
Yeah, so I actually just started hearing from him maybe 2 weeks ago, and we haven't spoken before that for 6 months. And he has been asking me to talk since then, but this was the first time I reached back out to him was 2 weeks ago.
When did you break? So you broke up 6 months ago?
Yes.
Why did you break up?
So it was honestly a long time coming. There were a lot of things that were kind of playing into it, but I will say the biggest factor was 2 years ago. My uncle, who was basically like my father figure, very like randomly, suddenly passed away. And my boyfriend at the time was away playing football, probably 4 different times. Each time it was half a year long, but this time he was actually here when it happened, which I was very thankful for because I was always worried something could happen when I was alone. But the funeral was set to happen when he had a tryout to go to. And it was just like a weekend. He was flying out to a different state to try out for another league. And it was a big opportunity. He didn't want to miss out. But I told him, like, there are other tryouts, and this is a really like once in a lifetime thing for you to be here for me. And it was to this day like the hardest thing I've ever been through, like losing him, losing my uncle. So I really needed him there. I expressed that over and over again. And it, feels really bad to even say I was begging for someone to come for my uncle's funeral. And we'd even been together for probably 5 years at that point, which is even worse. But yeah, so he, at the end of the day, chose to go to his football opportunity. Couldn't miss out on that. I also thought that if he didn't go, he would hold it against me that he didn't get the opportunity. But I didn't realize until I went that it was going to impact our relationship as much as it did. And I feel like it took 2 years because I lost another person in my family. And I kind of feel like I didn't want to lose that relationship also on top of that. And I had hoped that maybe he could make up for it in some way, but it just declined in all sorts of ways since then.
What do you mean declined?
Well, so he plays football, professional football. It's an indoor league. And so he doesn't get paid very well. It really is a big passion. He had dreams of going to the NFL. That didn't really happen. And now he just wants to play football. So
I guess
I always
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, he always had dreams of, playing there, but it was more because he wants to play. Like the pay was not that great, and he would come back, kind of scramble for work on his off season, and then basically wouldn't be able to go out on many dates at all, or really do anything together, or travel, which was kind of rough. So I kind of played a part in it because I feel like we never went out, we never did anything, and then it just was a matter of him kind of like maybe feeling bad for not showing up for me and kind of like giving up in a way. I feel like he really felt very guilty for missing out on that. He didn't get that opportunity that he tried out for either. So it kind of felt maybe a little bit worse for him. And he really did stop showing up for me.
Now, when you said that, you smiled.
Well, I kind of also feel like I kind of like started accepting, like I gave up too, definitely. There was a very like lack of motivation
I'm saying
for
when
me.
you said he didn't like the opportunity that he missed your uncle's funeral for, didn't get, you smiled, which tells me you really enjoy being right. Yeah, listen, we all do. I think this is something to, when I'm listening to you talk, it's just something I pick up on, and we all like being right. Well, let's finish your story, because you first called in basically saying, my football playing boyfriend is in his off season. Does he just want to get back together because it's his off season? And then now you're giving me context about your relationship, and obviously we're getting into some, very deep kind of rooted issues in what is a very long. You two have a long history, yeah. Like, when did you guys meet? How long? Like, you're 27.
Yeah, I'm about to be 28. And we met in college. I was on the track team and he was on the football team. So we knew each other from sports and our friends. And
what'd you run?
I was 800 meters,
Okay,
400 meters,
so
and then I also did cross country.
I was a mid distance.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That was the hardest one of them all, for sure, mid distance.
100%. All right. But I guess my point is that this isn't like, I was kind of half expecting you to be like, yeah, am I dating this fuck boy football player? And we've been dating for like 6 months, and then he went and played, and now he's back, and should I give him some time? And that's not what this is. This is, I've been dating this guy since college. We have a long history. I'm guessing you guys have talked about, like, spending the rest of your life with each other. You've played house, I'm sure, at times. You've probably done it all, right? And then, you have a long history of all these scenarios and these stories that I'm sure you could share more stories that he let you down. I bet he has stories of things you did to frustrate him and blah, 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 blah. So I guess back to now that I have some context about your relationship, what are you really hoping to get out of this call? Like, are you considering getting back together with this guy? Are you sure that he wants to get back together with you? Or are you not even sure if you know that for sure? Like, where are you at in terms of this relationship?
So that is where it's difficult, because I feel like, he lives the life of like, it's inevitable to kind of live the life of a football player. Like they would, have to go out to eat and show up at bars and be there, like, and he's far away, in a different state. So it's always going to be difficult, but I can genuinely say I've never had like a thought of him cheating or disrespecting me or playing me. It really was a matter of him just kind of choosing to play football over like being able to show up for me. And then I just kind of realizing we graduated in Philadelphia area, and then he wanted to move to like a whole different state. So like it was a 10-hour drive moving here away from family. And I've been here ever since. So we relied on each other a lot. And when he did move here, we graduated when COVID happened. So he gave up football at that point because it wasn't happening, and he got a sales job here. So I didn't actually really expect to be tied into this kind of football life, I guess. When I moved here, away from family and friends. So that kind of made it a little bit more difficult.
How did he do in sales?
So he did okay in sales. He didn't really have, I kind of feel like he always had the plan to still do football. And he kind of came to me one day and was like, yeah, I got an agent and I have an opportunity to play it was like Bismarck. It was super far away. And that was when I was kind of like very like, whoa, you have an agent, which I kind of didn't even realize he still had an agent to try to do football. So I did kind of feel like he always knew he was going to do it. It was just a matter of, now I'm away from my family and friends when you're leaving for 3 months to 6 months. And I don't know if I would have made this move out here if I knew that would have been what could have happened. I might have actually rather stayed home and closer to friends. So that's sort of where it started to feel like, football is his main thing in life. And I might be just kind of like a side note. And I feel like since then, it kind of showed me that every time he left, he's been he's very present when he was here, and then he would leave and be very involved with his football team. And when he would come back here again, like he just was kind of like trying to make money to support himself and practicing, waking up, practicing, going to work and practicing after work. And we really didn't really do anything together because he was always so busy with that.
Yeah.
And
how old is
it
he
was
now?
more so a matter of, he's about to be 28 also.
Okay. So this to me is about, is your ex-boyfriend, is he willing to grow up or not? Right?
Kind of where I am stuck right now because I feel like he has been, he was away and it was actually Oklahoma. It was super far when he was last playing. And we were still together at the time, but I feel like I just kind of started to back off the relationship and not really care as much. I stopped showing up to his games and supporting him because I realized that he wasn't able to support me and show up for me. And we both just really kind of gave up, I guess. And I was the one who ended up pulling the trigger and just kind of like saying, I think we need to break up because I don't think anything's changing. And then he blocked me on everything. And I was trying to figure out a lease. I was trying to figure out, like, I had to make a move on my own without him even knowing, like, where I was. I had to get, like, all these little things, like get the Wi-Fi, get the insurance without him giving me his sign-ins and make a whole thing. So it just made a lot of things very difficult. And I was honestly shocked that he just flat out blocked me. In the long term, it really helped me because I instantly, like, I had actually like a race the next day and I had to, like, barely even knew if I was going to do the race, like, didn't know if I wanted to do it. And I went and did it. And I was like proud of myself. And then was like, you know what? Like, I can use this time to concentrate on myself and build and work. And maybe like not even 2 months later, he starts talking to me again, like texting me. And we have a dog together and he would send me pictures of our dog. And that would be it. No context or anything. And I wouldn't answer because I'm just kind of like, whatever. Kept sending me, asked how she was, asking how she was. And then I, would just kind of be like, she's good once in a while. And then randomly he said he was in like my area, like in South Carolina area, and he wanted to meet up again. And I'm wondering, like, why did you even move back here? Like, who are you even staying with? Because he had no ties here except for me. Like, he never liked it here. So that kind of made me annoyed because I tried to build a life here in the meantime. And he came back here in his off season, which I feel like it also would have been a little bit easier to ignore him if he wasn't here. But he kept asking to see me and my dog.
So why are you annoyed?
Well, I'm annoyed that he's back here because he did complain a lot about how there's no opportunity here, how he doesn't have anyone to like practice with for football.
Clearly back here for you. No?
I don't really know that because also he has two friends who live here and he's living with one of his friends.
Sure. Okay. So well, maybe it's a little bit of both. I don't know. I'm getting the sense from you that you definitely play games for sure. We all do. Just giving you an example. I don't even know if you hear yourself. You were like, oh, he blocked me. Really pissed me off, you said. And I was going to jump in, but I waited for you to kind of finish. And then you were like, that ended up being a good thing. But what's funny about that is I'm willing to bet that, like, despite it being a good thing, you're still choosing to be pissed off that he blocked you because you feel like wronged by him. You're like, how dare you block me? But I can sit here not being emotionally invested in your relationship with him. And when you say he blocked me, I'm thinking, you probably hurt his feelings because you wanted to break up with him. He blocked you to get a reaction. He didn't probably even know what he wanted in this moment. He was hurt. And you know me, if you've listened to the show, I tell people to block people all the time if it helps them move on from, a relationship that you decided to end. So he blocks you. You then act like the victim, as if like, how dare he do this to me? And then you did what, you needed to do, which is like you adulted, you grew up fast, you were able to, it's like you're able to give yourself credit for doing the adult thing and figuring your shit out and the benefits that came from it, but you're still willing to hold on to the grudge that you have for him blocking you in the first place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's totally true because I kind of like feel like we were at a point where it was like, who's going to break up with who? And I felt like I had to do it and kind of be the bad guy. And I needed something for him to give me to show that he was also the bad guy, kind of. Or at least that guilt.
That's the thing. It's just like this is a classic case. You've heard me say it, I'm sure. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Needs to be your new life motto because I think you love being right so much. And I think you are often willing to be right over being happy. And I think a lot what I'm hearing about your and your boyfriend's relationship is about being right and you guys both forego happiness. Here is a man who potentially moved to a city for you and you're deciding to be pissed off about it because you've decided you own this city. And you know what I'm saying? I have plenty of like things that I can nitpick about your boyfriend here. To me, I'm hearing, if we want to like shit on your boyfriend because I'm shitting on you right now. But like, listen, your boyfriend needs to grow up a little bit, right? Like clearly this is a man who, he's 28 years old and I know enough about football to know it's a young man's league and 28 is like, you might as well be 70. I'm slightly exaggerating, but this is a man who's jumped around from like minor league to minor league. He's playing these random fucking, teams in South Dakota or whatever. Like if he was going to make it to the big leagues, the NFL, he would have made it already. No NFL team is going to give a 28-year-old journeyman a shot. Whatever shot he had, it's passed. That is the fucking reality of the situation. And so I don't know if maybe he wants to be a coach. I don't know. There's careers in football, but like you have, if you're serious about this relationship with him, it would be fair to you to sit down with your boyfriend and say, hey, listen, man, like we've known each other for a while. I really like admire you for chasing your dreams. But at what point I need to know that like if we get back together, like we're done playing games. It's the only reason we should even get back together is if like we're like serious about a committed relationship. We've been in each other's lives for years. We're family at this point if we choose to get back together. So it would be just, but like, are you ready to grow up? Are you ready like to actually get a job? And if your job is somewhere in football, but like you need a goal, and right now your only goal is to keep playing football, and that's not a goal, and it's certainly not a career, and it's not something we can raise a family on. And I need a partner, and we sometimes need to like ask ourselves tough questions, and we need to both challenge ourselves to be tough on each other. Knowing that you have a track background, and it sounds like you're still competing outside of college, you're still active.
Yeah.
So you're a highly competitive person.
Mm-hmm.
He's a highly competitive person. You two, I guarantee, because I've said this to Natalie, like she's the first girlfriend I ever had where I didn't feel like I had to compete with her. I told this to my therapist the other day, and she was like, yeah, that happens all the time. When I say compete, I don't mean like you guys are like sitting down and playing Monopoly and fighting, which I'm sure that might happen too. My therapist is like, yeah, my ex-husband used to compete over who had the worst day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm having a really bad day today. And then, one-upper is like, well, I had an even worse day, And like, I guarantee you two do that shit all the fucking time. I bet you guys compete over the dumbest fucking shit of who's had it worse or who's had it better, or blah, 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 blah. You two need to learn how to be team players. And you should be able to figure out because you competed on teams your whole life. But like right now, if you guys want to get back together, it's about being a team. And you two need to both acknowledge where you felt short of each other of being a good teammate to the other person. You two are so fixated on being right, on winning. That is probably, I'm guessing, the crux of the problems that you guys have had, right? As far as your uncle's funeral, I can see both sides, right? Like obviously a father figure who passed away tragically, you want your partner to support you. This is a man who like thinks he's chasing a dream. And while maybe disillusioned as that dream might be, like, yeah, it's just like if this was in fact a real opportunity that could change his life in ways that he might, never get another chance. It's, I met my wife by missing my grandmother's funeral. That's a true story. At the time, I thought I was just being a shitty grandson. Turns out I have a daughter. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big believer. There are moments in your life that can drastically change your life forever. I can name 5 off the top of my head that if I don't show up that day for this random fucking thing that I've had no idea would change the course of my life because of people I met, I wouldn't be sitting here today with you. Right. All I'm saying is that your boyfriend who's chasing a dream and he has opportunity, it's not that easy to say, hey, you need to be here because someone passed away and it's meaningful to me if they believe deep down this could change their life forever.
Right.
The point is you guys, as a couple, neither of you were interested in sitting down and saying, well, can I hear why this is important to you? You guys are so quick to tell your version of the story. You want to be heard and he wants to be heard and neither of you are willing to listen. That's the read I get after talking to you. Is anything I'm saying sound accurate?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely accurate. And especially because at this point, I've been in therapy for like a year now, which has really helped. So I've been really like kind of like very, it brought to light a lot of the issues that I brought to the table too, because I know that like I was waiting for him to do something to mess up the relationship, but I was really over it after the fact that he didn't show up it wasn't even the fact that he didn't show up for my uncle's funeral. That really was awful. But then he did leave again for football. And then my grandma passed away. And then that kind of just made me realize like, this is a bit much. Like he couldn't have shown when he was here and he didn't show up when he wasn't there. And then he actually like had his mom and his sister come visit me during like the week of that happening. And that was honestly like awful for me because I just wanted to be with like either alone or by my close friends or family. And then, or even for him to come home the next weekend or the weekend after that if he was free. Like if he couldn't even come to the funeral, but that just never ended up happening. And it just kind of like built up more resentment towards him. And instead of leaving him, I like that resentment just kind of built. And there was basically like a boiling point to this where it was kind of like he came home the season afterwards and we like went out. It was like this like really nice night like downtown that we went out to. And I got too drunk and didn't even remember like totally bitching him out that night and like causing a scene. He even recorded me. He showed me it the next day, which was like not great at all. And I saw that and I immediately signed up for therapy. I was like, I don't even know that person. Like, who has all that inside of them and is so mad, but like it's been there and I just haven't dealt with it. And I knew I was taking out on him and I didn't want to do that anymore. And he even said like, it would be great if you would do therapy. And I agreed. And that was the point where I did. And he took even like 3 days apart. He stayed with his friends and I was just like apologizing, like signed up for therapy, tried to do everything I could. But then, it just felt like it wasn't enough time because he left again for football in maybe like 2.5 months. And I just felt like, I was like, I just feel like too much has even like happened at this point. I don't think he could ever forgive me for that. Like he just never really looked at me the same after that. And it just kind of felt like I was so mad at him for so many things. And he had something and he like, you know, and for me, I don't know, because I was so hard on him for a lot of things that made me upset. So I feel like that was his opportunity to be like that towards me. And it was just difficult. So I was like, I don't really think we're ever going to get out of that situation. And I concentrated a lot on, like, I leaned a lot on therapy, and therapy kind of like just woke me up to not really it being either our problems, just it being really like not a good relationship right now for everything that happened. And it was a lot of kind of fighting. It was a lot of like random things like me looking through his followings, him following a cheerleader, which I never want to even have to do for someone, and seeing that and feeling suspicious, and everything just kind of like, so, you know, just built this. I think I always wanted to maybe break up with him. I just kind of needed some things to do that. And I was looking for it and I found it and broke up with him when I probably confused him because I should have done it when it actually hurt my feelings. Like when he.
Sure. Well, and listen, you guys met in college. You guys met at a very young age. You met with limited experience when it comes to being in relationships and handling your emotions, you know? So like, you don't need to be that hard on yourself. I think you can both acknowledge you've made mistakes in your relationship life, especially in your early 20s. None of that really matters. You know what I'm saying? That's all. And if you guys were to entertain getting back together, you both need to understand you need to let that shit go. You need to let the past go. You don't use the fact, like, you guys have such a past that you're going to weaponize it against each other, which is what a lot of people do when they get back together after a breakup. You know, it's like you have all this ammunition on each other. You're going to both have to acknowledge to let that go. It doesn't matter what was said, what happened 3 years ago. You're both maturing and hopefully different people. You can still learn from it, but you both have to let it go, right? So the big question is like, do you love this man and do you want to entertain a future with him?
And that's where I'm at right now, because I really, when I was done, I felt like I'm done. Like there's just too much stuff. It just felt like
you're
when
talking
he
about the
blocked me
past.
again.
You're talking about the past. I want to know. I don't care. Okay. Let me ask this again. I do not care about the past.
Yeah.
And let's assume that clearly you both and him have shit to work on. I'm not asking about practicality. I'm not asking how we're going to execute this or how to do that. I'm just asking what your heart feels. And if I was a genie capable of making your wish come true, would you want to be in a healthy relationship with this man, or do you want to move on and explore a future with someone else?
I would definitely want to be in a healthy relationship with him. And that was, I feel like it wasn't maybe always my goal. Like I did want to just take time after the breakup and think that we weren't ever getting back together, because I really didn't think that. And I've been on a few dates since then, and it had, you know, haven't had bad dates. I've had some okay dates, but have still kind of like thought that he just provided something different. Like he was just such a different like vibe with him, and wanting to do everything with him and experience life with him. It was just kind of like a different thing. But
great. So
the most recent thing that we did, again, like talk on the phone 2 weeks ago after we haven't seen each other for 6 months. And in my mind, I'm thinking the longer, the better. It's more time for us to kind of heal and move on, because it would have been so easy for me to just like answer his first text a month in after we broke up and then get right back into all of our issues. But I knew that like I still needed time. He still needed time. I wasn't ready. And so I still like was working in therapy and going through everything and still like missing him and working through all those emotions. And then when I felt ready to talk to him, he wanted to meet up, but I said like, let's do a phone call. Cause I thought that'd be like too much pressure. And I wanted to just kind of get a vibe of where he was at. And the phone call like went super well. And he even talked about how he looked into doing therapy. And I was really impressed by that. He mentioned couples therapy, but I said I wasn't like comfortable with that because we're not like a couple at the moment. I'd rather do mine and him do like his at the moment. But I was like appreciative that he even had that thought. And he did like something that kind of like bothered me a little bit was that he did kind of mention, he was just like, I just don't know like if I can move on from, you know, everything that you said that night, like what you said that night. It just kind of made me realize that you don't think anything of me. And I just kind of was like, okay, like we took like 6 months to kind of work on this and you're still going to
Well, what
hold
exactly
me
did you say?
to
Were you
that.
like, you're a fucking loser and you're playing loser football? And did you go there?
I said that he was broke. I said he never takes me out on dates. I said I was embarrassed to be with him at times. I'm embarrassed that he didn't show up for me for the funeral. He embarrassed my family.
So,
like,
all right.
I was like, yeah, I mean, it was bad.
I mean, not great, but it could have been worse. Well, here's the thing. That's the thing. Is if you guys were to get back together, I'm glad that he even brought up couples therapy. You know, I think that's great.
Yeah.
If you guys were to get back together, you should go immediately into couples therapy. That's just my opinion, because I'm thinking, why waste each other's time? You guys have so much history. Let's not pretend this is like two people meeting for the first time ever. And if you guys do get back together, I want to entertain this. You already got this incredible head start because you have this history. And like I said before, you're at the risk of this history like causing way too much unnecessary resentment and tension and you guys fighting about all the wrong things. So it would really benefit you guys having some sort of intermediary to help you guide you through working through the shit that you need to work through and let go of the shit that is just baggage, right? Of which you guys both just have a lot. That being said, listen, he also has to face some tough questions himself. And yet, you know, you would have to say, listen, like we both have done some shit that clearly we have both hurt each other. We've both made each other cry. We've really done some bad things to each other. I think we also agree that there's still a lot of love between us. So if we get back together, we just have to both agree to let that shit go. And again, I jump into couples therapy to help us work on that and do that. But like he can't dangle that carrot and be like, well, I don't know if I could ever. That's such I think we use it's a manipulation tactic. I honestly think, I don't think we're doing it on purpose. It would be the same thing if you bring it. Well, I don't know, you didn't show up to my uncle's funeral. Like, I bet you would bring that up a million fucking times, if you got back together when it was convenient, anytime he oh, you did it again. Listen, for example, he's going to have to recognize that when it comes to his football playing, he has been incredibly selfish. That has been his dream that he's been following. And it's a dream that he's been following with any like light at the end of the tunnel. There's been no reward. Hang on to me, babe. I got you. It'll all pay off at the end. He must at this point recognize that he is just playing just because he enjoys playing. And you know what? That's definitely a choice. I can't sit there and argue it, Listen, I don't have like my 20s. All my 20s were at this point in my life were just lessons. They were. That's all they are. There's a lot of people that were in my life, like girlfriends that were very pivotal in my life. I have no fucking clue where they are in their life now. I really don't know. I've made friends, I lost friends, whatever. But all they are, it's lessons at this point. And so if it's hard for me to sit there and criticize your ex-boyfriend for like honestly, if he gets to be my age, right? Let's say he finally figures out, he's like, I'm done playing football. And at 30, he could easily get back into sales. Well, fucking sales companies love ex-athletes. He could probably walk in. Is he a decent looking guy?
Yeah.
Is he like, I'm guessing he's over 6 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? He's a shoo-in for a med sales job. He has to have like a half a brain. He could be one of those guys, and in 10 years, he could be some, regional director for some, med device company making, 6 figures. And then he's just like, yeah, and I spent all my 20s playing the game that I loved. I have great memories. I have all these friends. And yeah, I was sleeping on a couch and all me and my now wife, like we fought all the fucking time. He won't have a single fucking regret of playing the game he loves. So it's, you know what I'm saying? what matters is what is he going to do with his life when he finally realizes, hey, man, all right, enough is enough, right? And I don't know if now is that time. I don't know if you're going to be the reason. And you have the right to say, listen, I don't want to sit there and I said a lot of hurtful things that I regret. At the same time, I do want to think about my future, right? And if whatever relationship I get into, I want a partner. I think we could have been better teammates in a relationship. I think sometimes as teammates, we need to be, more supportive and be each other's cheerleaders, but also we do have to challenge each other to make tough choices in our life. And listen, if you want to be in my life, like, I need you to make less selfish decisions about your own personal life. You got to play football throughout your 20s. I could have been a more supportive person, but like at the same time, I didn't know any better. When you're 24 years old, you think I should get married now. I should get engaged. Where are we at? Now you guys have the benefit of hindsight, realizing, I don't know, maybe I didn't want to get engaged either. I just thought I should. And so now you guys have to figure this out, right? And so it's just about both of you acknowledging that you both brought tension into the relationship. You both brought drama into the relationship. You both were self-centered and selfish. You may have had the best intentions. When you were criticizing each other, you thought you were convincing each other. You're convincing yourself you're both helping the other person out. Instead, you were just like being demeaning and criticizing and things like that. It's a balance. So, listen, again, that's what I mean. You got to let the past go. And all that really matters is, do you two love each other? And do you two want to make a future with each other? And are you both willing to do the work? It's that simple. It doesn't have to be that complicated. And you need to let go of the funerals. He needs to let go of the videotape, and call it even, Steven.
Yeah. And it's also hard too, because it's like he has been trying even harder that he's like done football to talk to me again, when that's something that was hard, like during the breakup. Like, it was such a sharp contrast of like here by myself, like having to ask my parents to come help me move and didn't want to do all that. And he already had his room paid for him, had his friends, had his whatever. So I feel like it almost maybe didn't even hit him until later, where it did like hit me right away. So I am kind of worried, I guess, because we did, talk on the phone and that was good. Talked on the phone one more time and it was good again. So then I was like, okay, like, you want to come over? Like, we'll see, and he actually met like my dog and I for a walk. And then of course, like, we come back here and had like pizza and then sleep together, because everything just felt like so natural and normal. And it was great and awesome until like the next day when he like left, and like seeing him leave was just hard, because I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to see you again. It's not like a locked in relationship like it was. Like, it just kind of felt weird. And then he kind of got maybe a little bit just like that weird feeling as well. And then we hung out another time, also had sex. And then the next morning I was really thrown off, because I was kind of like he was leaving for work. And I was like, oh, like, I guess I'll like see you, later, whatever I said. Like, and he kind of got weird and was like, I don't really know. Like, I'm still really confused about everything. And I'm still trying to play football. And even in New Mexico, if I have to like leave to Mexico and play football, like I will. Like, I need to play football still. And I don't know what that leaves with us. And I don't want to feel guilty. I don't want to feel guilty for getting you wrapped in this again. And I just felt like, did I just get like totally wrapped in this again because it's just the convenience of his off season? And I told him, like, I've done a lot of time to think about this and work through this. And he said to me, he's like, I'm being honest, like, you telling me how much you've been working on it is making me realize that I actually haven't thought about it like at all. And I was like, what? Like, I feel like this whole time I've been thinking about it like nonstop, trying to work on myself, get myself through it. And that was frustrating. On top of then he said, because I was like, yeah, like, I've been working on it. Like, I want to do better. And I don't want to hold each other to the things in the past. Like, I want to forgive you and move forward. And he said, it freaked him out when I said that it's actually been 10 months since you've seen each other, because he has been away for 4 months, even before that, before we broke up. And he goes, I feel like it's just been too much time now. And now it's like, we're just going to jump right back into it. And it's all going to be the same. Where my mind was totally different. Like, this time I was healing and like trying to move forward and letting go of the past and wanting to move forward in forgiveness. And I kind of just feel like it's hard now, because I'm kind of realizing he hasn't done that work that I feel like he was telling me on the phone the first time. And now he's almost like, well, I'm still going to play football. And I'm like, did you just do this to relieve some guilt that you had and want to make sure that like we're cool or fine? Or like,
I don't know if it was guilt. My guess is he cares about you. He has feelings for you just like you have feelings for him. The difference is you've done the work and he hasn't.
Yeah.
It's kind of that simple. everything else is all kind of very human nature. You guys, like you said, you guys are very comfortable with each other. When you're going to get together and have a date night and come to each other's houses, you're going to have sex. Why? Because this is what you guys do, and it's so comfortable. It's just like, I don't know, maybe, assuming he's maybe been on a few dates too, maybe he's hooked up with a person here or there, but for the most part, like you guys bring, again, it's very easy for you guys to be your emotional support system, to be your physical support system. So that's what you fall into. Right. And neither in both of you in that moment have that need. So you give into that need. And then the next day, you kind of reassess all of a sudden once that need's met, then you have other needs. Right. And again, you've done the work. He hasn't. Also, like, you're a woman, he's a man. So you're probably a little bit more mature than he is. Who knows? And then so obviously sex is going to affect you differently than it's going to affect him. All those elements come into play. But nothing I said really changes, right? Like, all it is maybe, to your point, a little bit of a wake-up call of where you are or where he isn't, right? So nothing really has changed for you. You could say, listen, like, it felt like, I know you didn't mean it, but it just seems like, obviously, it just fucks me up a little too much when we play house, have sex, and then obviously, I know you don't mean to, but it's definitely kind of, it makes me sad, or, hurts a little bit when all of a sudden you're just like, I don't know what I want, because now I have to get over you again. I care about you. Like, you guys need to stop pretending that you guys don't love each other or there's not some love there. You guys are and that's where the game playing comes in. You two have been in each other's lives for too long to just play these stupid fucking games about, like, do you like me? Do you not like me? Do you care about me? Do you not care about me? I don't, like, Jesus Christ. You guys clearly care about each other. You're still in each other's lives. You have every reason not to be, but you still are. So something's bringing you back, and maybe it's just like, the history. But again, I do think you have the right to set some boundaries here. It's like, listen, I'm going to put it out there. If I had my wish, if I had one wish, and when it comes to my relationship life, it would be in a healthy relationship with you, because I love you. I want to admit that. I don't think we're capable of that right now, and that makes me sad, And yeah, I don't know. I have been doing a lot of work, and you have your own journey too. But like I said before, if you felt the same way about that I feel, then yeah, I would want you to do some work on your own. And then yeah, maybe we'd have to get couples therapy. Right now, it's clear that football is your number one priority. I'm not here to tell you what to prioritize, but if we want to work on this, we need to be each other's top priority. And yeah, that might include you not playing football for the sake of playing football. Like, I definitely want to get into a relationship with someone who kind of knows what they want to do with their life and their career. And I honestly, like, you would have to offer him some kind of, like, as of a reflection. I'm, again, really sorry for how I handled things about your football playing. I think I was a little immature. I think I was, there was a lot of reasons why I did a lot of things I regret. I do need to have a future with you, but I do really respect you chasing your dreams. I think you're going to be really glad that you played football as long as you did. And I think that's really cool. That being said, we are 28. We're getting to the point of our lives that if we want to, like, have a family and plan a future, now's kind of the time to start thinking about that. And that's kind of where I'm at, So if you want a relationship with me, yeah, I need to see you more focused on the future, and I need to not have football be your number one priority. Because the truth is, we probably shouldn't have been dating when we were dating, because, like, football was your number one priority. And I was just too stubborn to, like, accept that. And I tried to be your number one priority while football clearly was. And that's okay. I'm not even mad about it. It's just like, that's just the reality. That's the thing. It is the reality. He wants to say, no, babe, you're my number one priority, but also football is. It's like, there can't be both. Stop bringing up the past. Other than, like, hey, I want you to talk about the future with this guy.
Yeah.
You can acknowledge, hey, I think we have things in the past that we both are triggered by. We have both hurt each other. I don't really want to get into that, but, like, all I know is that we keep coming back in each other's lives. I'm very confused about how I feel about you, but I'm not confused that if we could figure out how to be healthy together, I would want it to be with you. I hope you feel the same about me. We clearly can't do this on our own. I'm honestly, like, I would definitely explore going to a couples therapist with you if we decide to get back together. I don't know if that's something you want to do, but, like, again, you got to humble yourself to not be right and just put out what you want and see if he wants the same thing back. You're not, like, right now, you're hedging your bet. You just, You immediately you can't start a conversation. I'm willing to forgive you. That's putting you on a higher level than him. It's just like, and yeah, of course he's going to be like, well, what about the things I need to forgive you for? You know?
And that is how he felt. Like, I feel like he feels like I'm not like talking down to him, but I feel like I have been using this like, oh, I've been going to therapy and I've been working on myself to feel like I know exactly what I'm like doing, which I've been like trying to be like, okay, like I have to like lessen that more.
You need to recognize that as long as you guys have been in each other's life, you've both hurt each other a lot. And he has a long list of gripes too. I bet if he called in, I could be like, I bet I'd be talking to the same person.
Yeah. It took me definitely a while, I feel like, to work on all those things. So I do kind of, and to let go of like that resentment I had for him. So I'm just kind of worried that if he hasn't worked on that, he's still going to have that for me, see me as that. And I just feel like I kind of need to let him have time to do therapy, but then he's also leaving to play football again in like 2 months. So it kind of is pressure in that sense.
Before I gotta go, because we have to wrap this up. What do you think I think you should do? I'm not convinced you've heard me. And even though I've said it 20 times.
I guess just like unblock him and try to like just figure out an answer out of this instead of competing with each other and trying to be like tit for tat on everything.
What would you say to him?
I already did say like I forgive him and I want to move forward. I guess I would just kind of have to say like I understand that takes time and we're going to have like some instances where we're not going to be perfect and we're just going to have to be like gentle with each other in this learning process, or just, I don't even know, just either be with each other during this process, or I feel like kind of let each other go at this point. It's kind of too difficult if we're never going to be on the same page.
Kind of. I want you to work on listening before, and I have this problem. I want you to work on hearing and listening and not waiting to speak. You do that a lot. I've said, I've gone on these like 3-minute tangents and you're nodding, and then before as soon as I finish, you're just like ready to fucking go. And I don't really, I mean, I don't care. This is your time. It's not about my feelings. But if I were someone, for example, like your ex-boyfriend who wanted to feel like I was being heard, that would give me the opposite feeling. You know what I'm saying? I would want maybe you to like, if I get done speaking for 60 seconds passionately about something and expressing how I feel, to feel heard, I'd want that other person to like, maybe like let some air go between, so that first acknowledge what I'm saying. Oh, well, actually that makes a lot of sense. Maybe ask a follow-up question. Give a shit about what they said. You are just waiting to speak. And not only are you waiting to speak, you're already going 70 miles per hour 2 seconds into your conversation, as if like you shot out of a cannon because you're just waiting for him to shut the fuck up. And I guarantee you that's how he feels.
Yeah. And I will say that's an issue that I have with him too. So that's where we butt heads a lot.
Yes.
I feel like
you're both athletes. You're both competitive people. You both love being right. You both love winning. I get it. Right? But you both have to acknowledge. And when you speak to him, you need to, again, focus on listening to him. You need to use we and us language. You have to stop saying shit like, I'm willing to forgive you. It's more like we have a long history. We have both hurt each other. And I don't think we've hurt each other because we've tried to. I just think we're both stubborn people who love to win. And I think we should both acknowledge that. And we should try to focus on how we should stop frustrating each other and playing games with each other and get on the same page. We and us, we and us, we and us, we and us, we and us. Write him a letter as if you're speaking to him and practice we and us language. Because right now it's you and me. It's I did this and you did that and I'm right and you're wrong. And you know what I'm saying? That's how you guys talk. And when he speaks, listen and think about what he is saying. And if you have a question about what he is saying for clarification, to like show him that, do that, but don't just start talking, because that will make him feel like you don't give a fuck about what he is saying. All right.
That's definitely true.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully this was helpful.
Yeah. I guess I'll just unblock him and try to say, I'm sorry for blocking him. And maybe, I have my dog taken care of and we can maybe talk after this week when like it's both of our birthdays this week, which kind of sucks. And you're like, after this week, maybe you can have a talk.
Stop. It doesn't suck. It doesn't suck, right? It's just, you're so used to just making problems out of nothing. Yeah, you could be like, listen, I hope you have a really great birthday. I'm thinking of you. I care about you. Just be fucking nice. all you have to think about
Yeah.
is saying nice fucking shit to him, right? I hope you have a happy birthday. I'll be thinking about you on your birthday. I want to figure out if we can be in each other's lives. If any part of you sees a future in me, I would love to have a conversation when I get back about what that looks like. If not, I totally get it. Then maybe we should move on. But like, you have to use less aggressive language. It has to be
Yeah.
inviting. It's got to be us and we. You know what I'm saying? Stop trying to fight. Stop trying to win.
So I will text my ex happy birthday,
All right,
is what
yes.
I'm hearing.
There you go. You can text him happy birthday. Yeah, he's very much still in your life. But yes, you can text him happy birthday. Well, keep us posted. I'm invested. I'd love to get an update. Get him on the phone. I'd love to talk to both of you. I bet I would learn a lot about both of you.
Yeah.
And maybe that's step one.
You might not get a word in between us. We'll see.
I'm sure I'd find a way. But yeah, seriously, I would love to have you guys call in together, because I could probably figure out one way or the other. Because you really too, you guys got to get on the same page. You're way too competitive. But there's a lot of love there. So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he might be willing to. So I'll see.
All right. But first, sit down with him and just be vulnerable about what you hope with this man. And regardless of how he responds, just be glad and grateful that you were able to be vulnerable and honest with him about how you feel. You've wasted too much time saying something and immediately having an expectation of him of how he cannot disappoint you. And that's not a recipe for success. He's only just going to disappoint you.
Definitely have more work to do myself for sure, but
we all do. All right. All right. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye. How's it going?
Good, thank you. My name is Gina. I'm 31. And my question for you is, how do I stop the men I date from seeing me as their therapist and their girlfriend instead?
Okay. Why do you think men that you date see you as your therapist?
So generally the routine is I go on a couple dates with them. We get more comfortable with each other. I learn a little bit about their career. They learn about mine, their life outside of work and such and such. And then almost overnight, it just seems to turn into, how was your day? I'm tired. How was work? Oh, I hate my boss. I want a new job. And, and they might go into more serious stuff, like how they struggle with anxiety and depression. And of course, I'm understanding to that. But that seems to be the conversation every time we speak following that, assuming we talk on during the week. And so it's been another work day. They're tired again.
What's happening prior to you getting to the point where where you have some kind of rapport with these men that they would be texting you on a regular basis?
A couple dates. So I've met them in person. We've gotten a little bit more comfortable with each other. That's probably what I would say what leads to this.
Okay. And minus what's going on the text, do you like the fact that you are texting on a regular basis with these people?
I'm not a serial texter in that I want to text them 24/7. I do like daily check-ins or every other day.
Okay.
Or something like that. And of course, I don't push it. I kind of pick up where they leave off, and so to speak.
Just out of curiosity, like, how do you decide what men to go on dates with?
I'm definitely looking for someone who's a little bit more established and really does have a life of their own and a career of their own, just to kind of match our lives in that way. So I understand that, of course, if they're busy and have a complicated life or other priorities pulling them other way, that might start to wear and tear on them mentally, and then kind of use me as an outlet of someone to open up to.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I'm curious, like and I'm glad you have that answer. You're looking for men who kind of are established in their lives, but it seems like you're going on dates with men who aren't.
It always seems to be like they think it's just going to get better next week or 2 weeks without really making serious pivots in their life that would then make them established.
Yeah, but I got you. I mean, and listen, I don't know. I mean, on a dating app, I'm not necessarily recommending as soon as you match with someone, be like, all right, like, what do you do for work? How much money you make? And do you love your job?
Yeah.
That being said, I mean, I do think you can try to figure out someone who, I don't know. I do think, do you love your job would be a great qualifying question for you to ask early on in dating.
Yeah,
Have you ever asked that?
Not directly. I think I more try to pick up on kind of the way they speak about it, if it's something they're passionate about, or if it's something that they dread every day. I try to pick up on that when we're just chatting in the apps.
Okay. Well, hard to pick up on things chatting in the apps.
Mhm.
Much easier to just ask. I think, do you love your job is a great question. It tells you a lot of things about people. For you,
Uh-huh.
it would tell you if someone even likes their job. And you know right off the bat that a man who doesn't love his job, I mean, we're talking about a whole lots of problems potentially.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
You know, there are exceptions to all the rules, so to speak, but call it misogyny. I don't know. Call it whatever you want. I don't know. But I still think the social expectations or the norms are that for anyone who wants to settle down, as they say, and start a family, I think more women are comfortable with the idea of maybe they work, maybe they don't. You know, it's like maybe they want to stay home and have kids. I think they are open to having that conversation, you know, where I think for whatever reason, right or wrong, I think men feel if they don't feel established in their career, well, I guess regardless if they want to settle down and have a family or not, they feel judged by themselves, judged by society, judged by their future partners. They feel like they're not where they should be, type of thing. So there's that. Now, I am not in no way trying to suggest, obviously, for all the ladies out there who are very invested in their professional careers and want to do so even after kids. I think that's beautiful and I think that's amazing, yada, yada. I'm just talking about societal expectations. You know what I'm saying? And so I think when you find a man who can admit he doesn't like his job, that's almost certainly a signal that this is a man who very much has more questions than answers when it comes to their future.
Yeah. No, that tracks to exactly what I've heard throughout the years. Yeah.
And so if you're looking for someone who you don't want to be used as a therapist, if you are someone who, well, one is maybe, are you in therapy? I'm guessing you've done some therapy.
Oh, yeah. I've
Yeah.
gone through the same struggles and such and
Sure.
did what
Yeah.
I needed to do to get myself out of that hole.
I'm guessing you have a lot of friends who go to, I bet you even like giving advice.
Well, I don't
Not-
give advice to men.
No, I'm just
but
saying
I
in
date.
general,
Right,
I bet you
uh-huh.
like giving advice. I bet you're good at giving advice. And I bet you have a lot of friends who go to you for advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So despite you not like doing it to the men you date, you are definitely attracted to men who need your advice.
Okay. Yeah. Very true. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just, you know, there's a theme here, and the theme is you. So that, you know, we all have to recognize when we see patterns in our lives, we have to recognize we're the pattern, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I reached out to
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So yeah, step one, ask them, do you like your job? That could be your third question to every guy you match on the apps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you could do it in a way that's like, I was just curious. I just find that to be a really interesting question. So why do you ask? They say, like, oh, I don't know. I mean, you're like, it's dating apps, man. I'm just trying to get to know people, you know, like.
Yeah. No, yeah, I have no shame. I can ask that. Yeah.
You know, so one, I honestly think that would, that would cover a lot of ground. That, you know, minus that, let's say you ask that question, some guy's like, oh yeah, I love my job, it's great. And then you're like, oh, let's go on a date. You have a couple dates, and officer, like you're a third date. All of a sudden you feel like, oh, I'm being this guy's therapist again. Maybe don't be so empathetic off the bat or something. I don't know. You're doing, you're clearly you are making these men feel comfortable enough to open up to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's something you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
As someone who, you know, gives advice for a living these days, I'm a sucker for someone who needs advice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like it too much. I have to recognize that. And I think you like it too. When someone's like, hey, can I ask your advice? You perk up. You're just like, yeah, great. And even if it's a date, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, but what's your question? You know, like.
Yeah. No, I could see that. I always just sympathize and say, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. You know, tell me more.
Yeah.
And then that's the snowballing.
Yeah. But you probably you might even offer some good advice. And so what do you think they're going to do when they get good advice? They're going to come back for more. You know?
Yeah.
So one, you need to challenge yourself whether it's meeting people on in the real world or on dating apps, you have to challenge yourself to actually only go on physical dates with men who have in some way, shape, or form show you that they are happy with their life.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, how old are you?
I'm 31.
What's the age of the men that you're often dating?
My range on the app is 29 through 43.
Okay, and then
but I'm most often going on dates with 30 through 35.
30 through 35. Okay, I think you should age up a little bit.
Okay, that's good advice.
That's a huge generalization. So I just want to acknowledge that. But I don't think nowadays. I don't think men have always matured slower than women. And sadly, I think they're maturing even slower than before. That's a larger conversation we need to have on society. But the point is that it's going to be easier for you to find a man who, like in my 30s, I was sleeping on my friend's couch. I was taking a huge risk in my life, and I was, it's slightly different, but like I was definitely not excited about I wasn't ready to settle down and have a kid,
Yeah.
So in general, as a 31-year-old woman, you might have more luck with a guy who's in his mid to late 30s or even early 40s, I think a lot of guys nowadays, they'll get their first job, especially if they're in the business world, and they will get bored of that job. They want to take a big swing. They want to take a big risk. Sometimes that risk works out. Often it doesn't. And then they have to reassess that failure of that risk in their early to mid 30s. And that can be very crippling for them as far as their relationships they're in. Because again, I think if a man feels like a failure in his professional career, he's almost incapable of being a good partner. And again, there's a deeper conversation there in terms of the why. But as far as you're concerned, I think it's about you asking better qualifying questions early on when you're dating these men. And then when you get on these dates with these men, still being mindful that you have a habit of wanting to solve these guys' problems. And you really need to try to find men who really aren't quite, because there's no fix. You know what I'm saying? You're always going to be you. I don't think you should change who you are. I don't think you should stop giving advice, especially if you're good at it and you enjoy doing it. I think there's a place for you in this world. I think you just have to be mindful of who you're surrounding yourself with, because you don't want to, you're going to run the risk of always being the smartest person in the room or the most emotional regulated person. And you can get off on being right. And you can get off on being the person who gets advice. And I think it's important for you to surround yourself with people who don't need your advice. And I think if you're in a room with people who don't need your advice, I think you can potentially feel a little bit unnecessary and get insecure sometimes. I think you're so used to being this person that I think you should challenge yourself to get in rooms where no one needs your advice.
Yeah. No, that's a really good way of phrasing it.
Yeah. And then when it comes to men you're dating, same thing. I think you just really need to challenge stop wasting your time going on dates with men who made it very clear that they're just not settled with where they're at in their life. And if that means you go on less first dates, then so be it.
Right. And that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, really it just comes down to those little things, So I'm really curious. I'd love for you to follow up if you actually start asking, do you like your job?
Okay. Yeah, I'll be happy to.
And don't make it so loaded, right? Don't have it be the very first question. Do you like your job? Maybe 2 or 3 questions in, ask a couple softballs and just do you like your job? It's very cash. And, if they're like, actually, it's fine. I don't know. I fucking hate it. I'm looking to do other things.
Yeah.
Immediately, not your guy.
Okay. Yeah.
And don't feel like you need to explain it to them, especially if it's someone you just matched on the apps. You can ghost.
Yeah.
Don't immediately ghost. Can figure out the conversation. Blah 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 blah. Again, don't start to be their therapist. Well, just I'm just looking for men more established. If you don't like your job, you don't explain yourself. Don't. You don't know these people. They're just strangers.
Yeah. No, I don't do that.
Yeah. So yeah, I bet you would weed out a lot of people.
Okay. I'm gonna bump my age range up and start asking that question.
Yeah, I would. At 31 should be the lowest. Try
45.
Try doing 35 to 45.
35 to 45. Okay.
Just try it. You can always change it.
Board.
I don't think you should fuck around with anyone younger than you.
Okay.
If you're meant to be dating a younger man, he will find his way into your life. You don't need to
go find.
Right? You don't need to open up your dating search for all 30 and 29-year-old men.
Yeah.
Because then you're just opening up the door for the 29-year-old who wants to feel mature for himself and maybe just into dating a woman who's 2 years older than him. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, eh.
Mm-hmm.
But your big qualifier just should be, do you like your job?
Yeah.
Or to ask them what's one thing they really love about their life.
Yeah. Because, I mean, ultimately, they're just very negative, whether my response is, oh gosh, I'm sorry, and that, or not. It's hard to be around. Like, I don't want texts every day of,
Sure.
oh, my day was awful, So, yeah, I think kind of embracing or trying to find more positive men too would be helpful.
Yeah, it's tough out there. I don't know if there's a ton of positive men, but
That's-
there are. I do think we need to do something about our men are failing. It's sad. I'm worried for my daughter. But anyways, there's some good ones still out there. You need to find your equal, and then remember you're looking for one, not many. And just you have to challenge yourself to not be their therapist if you don't want to be their therapist.
Okay. Sounds great.
All right, well, keep us posted. I'd love to know if that question serves you well.
Okay, I'll follow up.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.